What's up, guys? Coming to you today with a full slate of MLB playoff action here on Tuesday, September 30th. We're going to give out plays on all 4 MLB games on the slate. I'll give you my favorite underdog pick of the day and my massive lock, my pick that regardless of price I think is the best chance of cashing today. We're also going to give out props on every single game, so slam that like button and subscribe to the channel to make sure you keep seeing these videos every single day, and let us know what you're thinking in the comments. I personally read and answer every comment I get. Check the pinned comment throughout the day to see our favorite picks, and you should definitely check back a couple of times throughout the day to see if there are any changes with injury news coming out and starters being confirmed. Yesterday, guys, a nice bounce back after we all know it was a very, very rough Sunday out there, but we bounced back pretty well on Monday Night Football, despite some pretty bad luck there, I will say. Now, got off to a good start there. We had Denver, minus 7.5, a blowout, 28-3 win over a terrible Bengals team. Bo Nix had a good game, and Dobbins and Harvey both ran the ball extremely well. This game was a very, very easy win, pretty much a complete domination there by the Broncos. We had Garrett Wilson, over 16.5 receiving yards at minus 115, 82 yards for him, catching 6 out of 8 targets. The Jets were really able to move the ball, and Wilson was a big help in this game. Mistakes did end up costing the Jets the win in this one, but we end up cashing this bet pretty comfortably. We also had Sutton here, over 66.5 receiving yards at minus 115. He caught 5 out of 6 targets for 81 yards and a touchdown. No way this guy was going to have a bad night against such a terrible secondary. He's the favorite target of Bo Nix, it felt like, and yeah, this one seemed like it was pretty much destined to fall into place for us. We also had Brown under 55.5 rushing yards at minus 120. 10 carries for him, only 40 yards, and with little to no success for the offense overall. They had to throw it as we projected, so he was not going to get a whole lot of touches. And yeah, got no offensive line to run behind. Life gets pretty rough. Now, the dog of the day, we had the Jets plus 2.5. It didn't come through, but if it wasn't for that fumble at the 1-inch line, then we would very likely have cashed this play. Fields had a great game running the ball, and just in general, the Jets played way better offensively than Miami did, but you turn the ball over 3 times, you're usually going to lose as a recipe for disaster, and it was eventually a disaster there for the Jets. We also had Browning to throw an interception, and of course, the kid finds a way to not throw an interception today, so that was pretty brutal. Obviously, he was super conservative out there with the way he was throwing the ball, and yeah, that helped keep his team from having a chance to win. Like, when you're down like this, you got to get it down the field. Well, he apparently was not willing to do that, so they do end up taking a very, very lopsided loss, but he doesn't throw an interception. Regardless, though, a nice 4-2 day. We'll definitely take that after a rough Sunday. So a nice bounce back there. Now, guys, very exciting stuff. We've got MLB Playoff Baseball to cover. 4 games. Now, it feels like a loaded slate here in terms of playoffs, so let's dive in. First up, we're going to be looking at the Detroit Tigers going on the road here to take on the Cleveland Guardians. The Tigers come into this game fresh off of a loss there. They lost 2 out of 3 against the Red Sox to end their season, but they do back into the playoffs here, coming up 1 game behind Cleveland there in the AL Central. A very, very epic collapse there by the Tigers to finish the season 87-75 and not win the AL Central. So we'll see if they're a little bit depressed about that, but time to bounce back quickly here as they're going to hand the ball in game 1 here of the American League Wild Card Series against the Guardians. They're going to hand the ball here to Tariq Skubal. He had a great year, 13-6 on the season, a 2.21 ERA. Closing out the season on a little bit of a downer. He had 2 starts there against Cleveland, obviously very, very important games in that nail-biter of a race, and both of those games ended up being losses for the Tigers. Back on the 18th of September, he went 6 innings, gave up 7 hits, only 1 earned run there against Cleveland. Then he followed that up with 6 innings, 4 hits, 3 runs, only 1 of which was earned. He did walk 3. He struck out 8 in a 6-2 loss against Cleveland, so pretty bothersome stuff. Honestly, his last 3 starts have not exactly looked the sharpest for Skubal. Now, am I expecting him to go out there and look terrible? No. This is Skubal. He's going to go out there. He's going to throw the ball well. And technically, this is a Skubal day. So happy Skubal day to all those who celebrate. But I'm not necessarily super high on Skubal coming into this game. Now, he does have other starts against Cleveland this year. Like back on July 7th, he dominated them over 7 innings, giving up 3 hits, striking out 10, and giving up no runs in a 7-2 extra inning win. He also pitched a complete game 2 hitter with 13 strikeouts against them back in May. This is not the same Cleveland team, guys, and this is not the same Skubal. Like, over his last 5 starts, we see the Tigers are only 2-3. A good outing against the Royals, a good outing against the White Sox, but then terrible against Miami, and then 2 weird starts there against Cleveland where he was not great. So we'll see what he can do out there. I am a little bit worried about Skubal in this spot, but definitely more worried about the bullpen here for the Tigers than I am about Skubal. Like, Skubal, he'll probably find a way to be pretty effective, but that Tigers bullpen, not great down the stretch. An ERA all the way up to 4.05 is not great. They have not been a reliable bullpen group here late in the season. So that is a big, big problem confronting Detroit here heading into this game. So I'm definitely worried about that. And maybe close to as big of a problem as the bullpen has been the fall off of this offense. This was looking like a top 5 offense in the majors, but down the stretch, it is not looking like that anymore. They finished the year 11th in runs scored, 16th in batting average, 14th in on-base percentage. Over their last few games, it did not look good at all at the plate. They scored 3-2-3, 4-1, 2-2, 5-1, and 1 over their last several games. That is not going to get the job done. In their last 6 games against the Guardians, they've scored 4-1-1, 1-0, and 5. Just for the record, all of those games except for 1 were losses. So not great. In the season series, we see that Cleveland won the season series 8-5. So that's something to think about here. But yeah, Detroit not coming into this wild card round swinging the hottest bats. They're going to be taking on a Guardians team that is swinging it pretty well. They're coming in to this game fresh off a 9-8 win over the Rangers. They won 2 out of 3 in that series. That was after winning 2 out of 3 against the Tigers. They finished the year 88-74, a historical comeback here for them down the stretch to end up winning the AL Central. Very, very impressive stuff here from the Cleveland Guardians. Did not expect to see this happen. This is not something you could really project to, see coming down the road, but they find a way to make it happen. Now, they're going to hand the ball in game 1 here to young Gavin Williams. This 26-year-old right-hander, 12-5 on the year, a 3.06 ERA, did have some struggles early on in the season, but came on strong down the stretch. Very, very impressive stuff. We see that the Guardians are 5-0 over his last 5 starts. His last 2 outings were both against Detroit. Both of those games were wins, a 5-2 win and a 4-0 win. He went 5 innings, gave up 3 hits and no runs while striking out 9 and walking 2 on the 17th. Then on the 23rd, 6 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs allowed. He did give up a home run in that game. He walked 2 but struck out 12. So Gavin Williams really, really peaking here at the right time. Very, very impressive stuff from this young kid, having those kind of nerves, out there on the mound, or nerves of steel, maybe I should say, out there on the mound. I'm impressed with what I've seen. So I'm expecting him to go out there and have a very, very good outing in this one. The Cleveland bullpen will be right there to back him up whenever he comes out of this game, whether it's early, whether it's late. They've been fantastic. The 3rd best bullpen in the majors by bullpen ERA, a 3.44 bullpen ERA. Not something that we're going to be complaining about one bit. Love that journey right now for the Guardians. And the way they've been swinging the bats definitely is a big plus. Now, this has not been an offensive juggernaut kind of team over the course of the year. They did swing the bats better down the stretch, scoring 9, 3, 3, 2, 5, 5, and 2 over their last few. But this isn't a crazy good offensive team. Jose Ramirez is a monster, don't get me wrong. Batting .283, 30 home runs, only 85 RBIs. They're 28th in the majors in runs scored, 29th in batting average. Despite their hot run down the stretch, a lot of that has been due to their pitching, not necessarily, and bullpen, not necessarily due to crazy offensive production. So I'm not expecting them to light up the scoreboard, especially against Skubal, but I'm not expecting them to do nothing out there either. They find a way to get runs across the plate. So looking at the numbers for this game, guys, the Tigers are -165. The Guardians are +140 at home. We've got a total of 6 in this game. Here we go with some, playoff baseball totals. Guys, Detroit, they ended up at the end of the year 41-40 on the road, 43-37-1 to the over on the road. Cleveland ended the year 45-36 at home, 41-37-3 to the under at home. I don't think anybody's going to be super shocked by our pick on the side in this game. I like the Cleveland Guardians here at +140. I know we're fading Skubal, not the funnest thing to do, but here in the playoffs, I think things are going to get a little bit scary out there for the Tigers, who just continue to be unable to hit the ball. They've really struggled in this matchup down the stretch of this season, losing 5 out of their last 6 games to the Guardians. So I will certainly be taking Cleveland here, getting nearly 1.5 to 1. Now, in terms of the total in this game, with only 6, I will lean slightly towards the under here. I don't think we're going to see very much offense in this game, which is another reason why I do like the underdog in this spot, but the total isn't a spot where I'm showing tons of value. Now, we've got a few player props to look at in this one, and first up, I think no run first inning, which isn't a real player prop, guys. It's also -190, so not a very appealing price, but when these two teams and pitchers faced each other back on September 23rd, there were 0 runs scored in the first 2 innings. I think we'll see something very similar to that in this game. I don't think we're going to see a bunch of offense in this game in general, and no runs being scored in the first inning makes tons of sense to me. In terms of a real player prop here, I like Gavin Williams over 5.5 strikeouts at -130. I think this is a very, very solid value. He just had back-to-back starts against Detroit and pitched 5 and 6 innings respectively. He had 12 and 9 strikeouts in those games. I know hitters might be more locked in or something since it's the postseason, but I think we see him comfortably get to 6 strikeouts in this one without too much trouble. So that's a play that definitely has a very solid chance to make the pinned comment. I also like Quan here over 0.5 hits. To get a hit in this game, it's minus 240, but he had 2 hits the last time Cleveland faced Skubal back on the 23rd, and his surge here in the second half has been key in this historic run the Guardians have gone on to get in the playoffs here, so I think we'll see him get a hit in this one. Also, he's a veteran. He knows what he's doing out there. I also like Torres here under 0.5 hits at plus 140. He went 0-for-4 with 3 strikeouts and 0 walks in the last game he faced Gavin Williams and the Guardians. I don't see him having a great time in this one, so that's a nice little underdog play there that I think has some serious value in this game. Hey guys, hopping here with a quick shout out to the sponsor of today and every day's video, and that is stumpthespread.com. Click the link in the description to go over there and see the top confidence picks from our entire team of experienced cappers. Right now, our premium members are getting daily MLB, UFC, NFL, and college football picks. We also have NHL hockey, and we have the NBA right around the corner. So it's a great time to get in the mix over there at stumpthespread.com. In addition to all the premium stuff that we have over there, we also have lots of free stuff available. If you're not looking to spend money right now, you just want to sample what the service might be like, get over there and check out our free picks. We post free picks that are exclusive to Stump the Spread over there every single day. We also have free to use bet size calculator, which I highly recommend everybody takes advantage of. That's where you will find our premium top confidence picks, but that's also where you can get on our free email newsletter, guys. It's a great resource every single day. One email straight to your inbox. It'll have at least one free pick in there, oftentimes 2 or 3. It will also have parlays included in those emails and tons of information on niche sports betting like golf, NASCAR, WNBA, tennis, all kinds of good stuff in there. Also big write-ups on, new sports. There'll be big NHL write-ups coming out. There'll be NBA write-ups included in there as well. So it's a great resource. Definitely want to get on that list and check it out every single day. Also, if you're having trouble getting those emails, check your spam folder. Occasionally they can end up in there. In terms of our premium results there for the 29th, not too much cooking. The premium did get burnt there on a very, very unlucky situation there on the Jets. But other than that, not a ton of action there in the premium section. But there's already premium picks up for the MLB slate tomorrow, so you definitely want to get in on that. Also, if you're a huge fan of what you're seeing from us here every single day, click that little join button right below the video to sign up for a YouTube channel membership. YouTube channel members get early access to all of our videos, get their name up on screen in every single video, but maybe more importantly, they get access to our members only giveaways. We just gave away a Stump the Spread hoodie on the 29th. We're going to be giving away another Stump the Spread hoodie. I guess that will be on the 6th because we give one away every 7 days here on the channel. So you definitely want to take advantage of that. Become a YouTube channel member by clicking that little join button right below the video. And yeah, you also get early access to all of our videos, which can be pretty helpful at times. So get in on that if you guys are interested, but we're going to go ahead and dive back in. We've got 3 more playoff games and tons of player props to break down here on what turned into a pretty busy day of MLB playoff action. In game number 2, guys, we're going to be looking at the San Diego Padres going on the road to take on the Chicago Cubs. The Padres were in that close race all season long there in the NL West, end up coming up 3 games short there of the Dodgers, which honestly, a pretty valiant try going up against the Dodgers team with that kind of payroll. Impressive that you were able to keep things that competitive down the stretch. The Padres did win the last 3 games of their season and 7 of their last 8 overall, so very, very solid work there from San Diego. This team did some positive stuff this year despite not being exactly an elite level team there offensively. Here in game 1, they're going to hand the ball to Nick Pivetta, who comes into this game 13-5 on the season, a 2.87 ERA. His last couple of starts, honestly, didn't go very smoothly. 5 2/3 innings, 4 hits, 3 earned runs allowed against Milwaukee. 4 2/3 innings, 7 hits, 3 earned runs allowed there against the Mets. Now, both those games ended up being wins for the Padres, but I'm not exactly putting them in the win column necessarily for Pivetta. Not all of the credit goes to him for those games. Now, in terms of history against the Cubs, it's a bit of a weird situation because these 2 teams haven't played since April. That's not something you see all the time. Now, the 2 starts that Pivetta had in April, one was terrible, one was pretty decent, but that's so long ago. There's not really all that much we can draw from those starts. So we'll see what he looks like in this matchup. A right-hander going up against the Cubs. He's probably not too worried. Now, something that should come into play here for the Padres as well is I don't think Pivetta needs to be too worried in this spot, or the Padres at least don't need to be, because if he starts to struggle out there at all, they can turn to that bullpen. And the Padres have clearly had the best bullpen in Major League Baseball all season long, guys. Come in first in the majors with a 3.06 bullpen ERA. Very, very impressive stuff. They led the MLB in saves as well. Like, this is the real deal out there. Like, the Padres bullpen is legit and could be part of the reason they could potentially advance here in the postseason. Now, in terms of their offense, that's a bit more problematic. They do come into the playoffs here hitting the ball relatively well. 12-5-7 there in that series against the Diamondbacks. 1-7-5 in that series against the Brewers. So not a lot of bad stuff for me to say about how they're swinging the bats right now. Over the course of the year, 22nd in slugging percentage, 18th in runs scored, a number that has spiked a bit towards the end of the season. I mean, we'll see if that they can do a little bit better than that. Batting average has been great. They're 7th in batting average, 9th in on base percentage. They've got a couple guys that are pretty used to the spotlight in Machado and Tatis, so we'll see if they're able to carry the load here offensively and help the Padres get the win here in Game 1. Now, the Cubs, they come into this game fresh off of sweeping the Cardinals to finish their season. They kind of stayed attached to the Brewers there in the NL Central, maybe not super attached, and also the Brewers clearly took their foot off the gas towards the end of the year a little bit, but the Cubs had an okay season. The weird thing for them was their offense just disappeared there at a little bit after the All-Star break and just never showed back up. Now, in terms of their Game 1 starter, they're going to hand the ball to Matthew Boyd in this one. This 34-year-old left-hander is 14-8 on the year, a 3.21 ERA. His last start was against the Mets, 5 1/3 innings, 2 hits, 2 runs allowed in a 10-3 win. Okay, that looks pretty good, but the start before that really did not have a good time against the Pirates, only lasted 3 innings, and that start got knocked around by Tampa Bay. So we'll see what he can do here against the Padres. He did face them in that series back in April and was very good in both outings, but like I said, guys, that was so long ago. Like, I don't know, this dude's coming off a bad start there at the end of August against the Rockies. Like, we'll see what he looks like in this matchup. The Cubs bullpen was pretty solid this year. A 3.78 bullpen ERA is definitely not terrible, but it's definitely not in the elite category, and it's been worse down the stretch than it was at the beginning of the year. So we'll see. We'll see what the Cubs bullpen looks like in this game. I don't think it's going to be terrible, but I'm also not holding my breath for miracles here. At least they're playing at home, I guess. The offense is what has really been the problem this, back half of the season for the Cubs here. They scored 2, 7, and 12 in that series against the Cardinals, but over the course of the year, you ended up 5th in the majors in runs scored, but in the back half of the season, it just has not looked as good. They just came off of a 5-game losing streak not too long ago, and it hasn't been that great at the plate here for the Cubs. I mean, Nico Hoerner's had a pretty good year. We've seen, Suzuki have a pretty good season. They're 13th in batting average, 6th in slugging percentage, 10th in on base percentage, but there is something about this offense that I just don't really trust. So we'll see how things go for them in this one. Looking at the numbers here, the Padres are minus 105, the Cubs are minus 115. We've got a total of 7 in this game. We see the season series here is split 3 games apiece. The Padres 38 and 43 on the road, 43, 36, and 2 to the under on the road. The Cubs 50 and 29 at home, 37, 35, and 7 to the over at home. In terms of a side in this game, it feels like a bit of a toss-up. The side in this one will not be making the pinned comment if you ask me. I'm going to lean here just slightly towards the Padres. I like the way they come into this series playing a little bit more than I like the Cubs, and I also don't trust Matthew Boyd in this spot. So give me the Padres here at a pretty reasonable price. In terms of that total of 7, I'm going to lean a little bit towards the over. I know neither one of these teams are really hitting the cover off the ball at the moment, but I think getting to 7 or 8 runs in this game is very, very possible. I do see some things, though, that I like here in terms of some props. Now, a game prop that I like, I'll lean a bit towards yes run first inning at plus 110. There have been runs scored in the first inning of each of the last 3 Padres games and in 2 of the last 3 Cubs games, so they tend to get out to, pretty decent starts here. So I do think there's a shot that we see, some offense there in the first inning. So give me the yes run first inning, but better than that, guys, give me Pivetta here over 4.5 strikeouts at minus 160. This play will definitely make the pinned comment. Could theoretically be our lock of the day. He's had 5 or more strikeouts in his last 9 starts in a row. I don't see any reason he's going to struggle to get some strikeouts against a Cubs team that has not hit the ball well really at any point since the All-Star break and are plenty strikeout prone. Definitely Pivetta's over on strikeouts here is extremely, extremely live. Next on the docket, we're looking at the Boston Red Sox heading to New York to take on the Yankees. Pretty exciting stuff to see these two teams playing against each other here in the playoffs. The Red Sox ended up 5 games back there in the AL East. The Yankees were actually tied with Toronto for the top spot, but Toronto held the tiebreaker, so the Yankees end up here in this wild card series. The Red Sox had a pretty good year. They finished things off winning 2 out of 3 against the Tigers, and they've got to feel very good about life right now because they get to hand the ball in Game 1 here to Garrett Crochet, one of the best starters in the majors. He finished the year 18-5 overall. That's the second, or tied for second best record in the majors. A 2.59 ERA. Very, very dominant stuff. His last start, 8 innings, 3 hits, no runs allowed, and struck out 6 there at Toronto. The Yankees have not exactly had a great time against him. Boston has won his last 7 starts. The last time he faced the Yankees, he did look a bit hittable. 6 innings, 5 hits, 3 earned runs allowed, and gave up a couple home runs, but he also struck out 12 in that game. So a pretty impressive outing. The time before that he faced the Yankees, 7 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned run allowed in a game we saw the Red Sox win 12-1. So I think this is actually a pretty good spot here for Garrett Crochet, but better than that, guys, this is an amazing spot for this Boston bullpen. A 3.41 bullpen ERA is the second best bullpen ERA in the majors this season, and I don't think they're going to be scared of this Yankees team at all. Like, obviously the Yankees have a very dangerous lineup, but I don't think the Red Sox, with this pitching situation that they have at least here for game one, need to be all that concerned. Now, in terms of their offense this season, they've been a little bit up and down, but I'm not too concerned. They finished the year 7th in runs scored, 4th in batting average, 9th in slugging percentage. They scored 4-1-4 over their last 3 games, but had a decent series there offensively against the Blue Jays. The last series they faced the Yankees, they scored 6-3-1 and 6-3-1 in that series. So not exactly amazing, but this team has plenty of hitters here. I don't think they're going to be too scared of the Yankees in this situation. So speaking of the Yankees, they do get to play this series at home, so that's got to be a plus here to get to play in Yankee Stadium. And they finished the season red hot, winning 8 in a row. That being said, their schedule was very favorable. They played their last, 10 games? Yeah, 7 games against the Orioles and 3 games against the White Sox. Not exactly teams that were in desperation mode, obviously. Now, the Yankees are going to hand the ball in this game to Max Fried. He's had an amazing season, maybe not fully out of nowhere, but kind of out of nowhere. He ended up first in the majors there, a 19-5 record, a 2.86 ERA. This 31-year-old lefty has done some good stuff this year, coming off, back-to-back dominant starts there against the White Sox and Orioles, but the last time he faced the Red Sox, it was pretty sketchy. 5 1/3 innings, 9 hits, 2 earned runs allowed, gave up a home run in that game, walked 2 and struck out 6. So the Yankees do win that game 5-3, but it was not Max Fried's fault. The time before that he faced Boston, he was very good. 6 innings, 4 hits, no runs allowed, and a 1-0 loss there for the Yankees. The time before that he faced Boston, he was also pretty solid. So I think Max Fried's probably coming into this game with a good amount of, confidence. Now, the problem is he going to go out there and throw a complete game? That seems pretty unlikely, since I don't believe he did that at all this entire season. No, he did not. So we'll see how late he can stay in this game, because once the Yankees bullpen is in there, it has not looked good. Now, maybe since this is game one, there'll be all their best arms out there in the bullpen, but over the course of the year, a 4.37 bullpen ERA is atrocious. In the bottom 8 in the majors, I think 22nd in the majors overall in bullpen ERA. That's a big concern for them here in the postseason. The offense, though, is not as much of a concern. Maybe here, in the postseason, things will be different, and that tends to be something that happens to the Yankees. But they scored 3-6-8, 5-8-3 over their last 6 games. But keep in mind, that was against the Orioles and the White Sox. What are they going to do here against the Red Sox? We'll see. I mean, they're first in the majors in runs scored this year. They're first in slugging percentage, 10th in batting average, 3rd in on-base percentage. I'm not going to lie and say this isn't a dangerous offense, because it clearly is. But in this specific matchup, I don't know how terrified the Red Sox really are going to be of them. So, looking at the numbers here, guys, Boston is plus 115 in this game. The Yankees are minus 130. We've got a total of 7 out there. Boston did win the season series 9-4, which is pretty solid margin. Boston comes into this game 41-40 on the road, 43-37-1 to the over on the road. The Yankees ended the year 50-31 at home, 43-36-2 to the under at home. I'm going to be leaning towards the Red Sox here at plus 115. If you're asking me to pick between Crochet and Max Fried right now, I will lean slightly Crochet. If you're asking me to pick between the Boston bullpen and the Yankees bullpen, that is an avalanche in favor of the Boston Red Sox. So I think the Red Sox are in a pretty good spot in this one. In terms of the total here, I will lean a bit towards under 7. I don't think we're going to see a crazy amount of offense in this game necessarily. Now, in terms of some player props for this game, I think Garrett Crochet here over 8.5 strikeouts at plus 140 is a very reasonable plus money play. He had a pretty staggering 12 strikeouts in his start against the Yankees back on September 14th, and in 3 of his last 5 starts, he's punched out 9 or more, and I'm just expecting a very, very good outing from him in this game. I think he's going to rise to the occasion here pitching in the playoffs. So definitely like Crochet's over on strikeouts. In terms of a hitter prop, I like Nate Eaton here over 0.5 hits at minus 110. He had 2 hits the last time the Red Sox went up against the Yankees, and over his last 5 games, he struggled a little, so I think this is a good bounce back spot for him, and he had 3 hits over the last 3 games the Red Sox played against the Yankees. So I think this is a pretty decent spot to back Nate Eaton. Last but not least, guys, we're looking at the other National League wild card matchup. We've got the Cincinnati Reds going on the road to take on the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Reds managed to do it. It was looking real sketch. They ended up 14 games back of the Brewers there in the NL Central, but they do manage to snag a wild card berth despite losing their last game of the season. They did win 2 out of 3 against the Brewers in that series, but losing game 3 there could have put them in bad shape. Fortunately enough for them, they do make it into the wild card. So at 83 and 79 on the year, that's what they've got, and they're going to hand the ball in this game to Hunter Green. This young 26-year-old has missed some time this season, certainly, but has looked really, really good. 7-4 overall, a 2.76 ERA. His last start was against the Pirates, 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs allowed. Pretty nice. And that was coming off a complete game, 1 hitter he threw back on the 18th against the Cubs. 9 innings, 1 hit allowed, struck out 9, and walked 1 in a 1-0 win. That was an incredible performance from a young 26-year-old guy, just to go out there and throw a 1-hitter. That was something else. So we'll see what he can do in this specific matchup. The last time he faced the Dodgers was on August 25th. And it wasn't amazing. 5 innings, 6 hits, 5 runs, 3 of which were earned. Obviously a very messy game out there. I do think he's capable of much, much better than what he showed in that one. We'll see. He was coming off a very good start against the Angels in that game and just, had a little bit of a hiccup. So we'll see what he can do this time against the Dodgers. That is a little bit concerning, but the kid has amazing stuff. So I don't think it's out of the realm of question that he could have, a good outing in this one. The Reds bullpen has not been the steadiest bullpen this season, but finished things up with a 3.89 bullpen ERA, which is not terrible. They showed elite stuff over at least a month or two span there earlier in the year. So there's some very nice arms out there in the bullpen for the Reds. The thing that held this team back this year, kept them from competing with teams like the Cubs and the Brewers there atop the NL Central, is their lack of offense. They end the year 21st in slugging percentage, 19th in batting average, and 16th in on-base percentage, despite playing in the Great American Ballpark, historically one of the more hitter-friendly ballparks in the majors. So a little bit concerning they weren't able to put up more offense. They came into the end of the season, 2-7-3, 2-3, and 2 over their last 5 games. Not exactly amazing offensive output, and it's not like they've got a ton of sluggers to rely upon here or anything like that. So they're going to have to manufacture some runs. We'll see if they're able to do that here going on the road against the Dodgers, who, for one of the most expensive teams in Major League history, I believe, probably not exactly where they thought they would end up. They did end up 93 and 69 on the year. They did win their last 5 games of the season, sweeping the Mariners and winning 2 out of 3 against the Diamondbacks, but it's been a little bit of a roller coaster this year for the Dodgers. They dealt with a lot of injuries, especially the pitching staff, so it's going to be interesting to see what they can do here in the playoffs. In Game 1, they're going to hand the ball to Blake Snell. This guy missed a decent amount of time this year, as he usually does. This 32-year-old left-handed veteran ended the year 5-4 on the season, a 2.35 ERA, and his last 3 starts, he's looked really, really good, giving up 1 run over those 3 outings. That was against the Rockies, the Phillies, and the Diamondbacks. He went 6, 7, and 6 innings, put up 11, 12, and 5 strikeouts respectively. So very, very good stuff. We'll see what he can do in this exact matchup. That can be a little bit, interesting to see what his history against the Reds was. But unfortunately, with all the time that he missed this season, he did not ever face Cincinnati. So we'll see what he looks like in this matchup. The last time he faced an NL Central team, that was the Pirates back on the 4th, and he got obliterated. That was a really weird game, but he got hit hard in that one. So we'll see what happens this time. If he has to come out of this game early, that's a huge problem because the Dodgers bullpen has not been good this year. A 4.27 bullpen ERA is obviously a big concern for this team in the playoffs. It's one of the reasons I've stated throughout the year that I'm not taking the Dodgers very seriously in the playoffs. I feel like they've got to, feel a little bit lucky with who they ended up playing here in round 1, or in the wild card round. So we'll see what things look like. Now, offensively, that shouldn't be a problem for the Dodgers. They're 2nd in runs scored. They're 2nd in slugging percentage, 6th in batting average. They've got Ohtani. They've got Freddie Freeman. Like, they have a loaded roster here. Very, very dangerous lineup for this team. The question is, will they be able to rise to the occasion and hit the ball hard here when it means the most? That remains to be seen, and they're going to be going up against the best pitchers now, so it is not going to be easy. But looking at the numbers here, the odds makers think it's going to be really easy for the Dodgers. The Reds are plus 170 in this game. The Dodgers are minus 200. We've got total out there of 7 for this one. The Reds are 38 and 43 on the road. 46, 34, and 1 to the under on the road. The Dodgers ended the year 52 and 29 at home, 42, 34, and 5 to the over at home. I'm not taking the Dodgers here, guys. They're not 2-1 favorites. It just doesn't make sense to me. Snell has been really good coming into this game. We'll see what he looks like against the Reds. He could be great. He could be great over 7 innings, but I don't think he's going to be great over any more than that, and I don't trust the Dodgers bullpen. I think Hunter Green's in for a good outing. I think the Reds bullpen's in for maybe okay outing. I do worry about the bullpen a little bit, so I'm going to shade just maybe a hair towards over in this game, but I will take the Reds here at plus 170. It's a very big underdog pick. It's unlikely to make the pinned comment, but I do think there's some value to be had on it just because I don't think the Dodgers deserve to be 2-1 favorites in this game. Now, in terms of some props for this one, once again, we're going to be looking at the yes run or no run first inning, and this time I'll be going with no run first inning at minus 150. The last time Hunter Green faced the Dodgers, it didn't go well for him or the Dodgers, but we didn't see any runs scored there in the first 2 innings. Blake Snell has had a roller coaster season, but he's given up a grand total of 1 run over his last 3 starts, like I was talking about. So I think the odds of there being runs scored here in the first inning are very, very low. Now, guys, I've got a real contrarian play for you. I'll take Ohtani here under 0.5 hits. Yeah, Ohtani to go hitless here is plus 160. A very contrarian play, like I said, but Ohtani went hitless in 2 of the last 3 games the Dodgers and the Reds played there back in July. He only bats .230 in the playoffs over a 16-game sample size. That's for his career. So I'm going to be leaning towards his under in hits here. This probably won't make the pin comment either, but I do think this is a prop that has some value. Guys, that's all the games we have here for today. Hit that like button for good luck on all of your bets and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Let me know in the comments any questions you have on today's slate. I'm more than happy to get back to you. I love to be able to answer the questions of everybody here on these short days. I appreciate you all watching. Make sure you're clicking that link in the description to get over there to stumpthespread.com. Check out all the free stuff we offer over there. Definitely consider signing up for a premium membership over there at stumpthespread.com because we are about to be in one of the best times of the year where you can get the absolute most bang for your buck when having one of those premium memberships. So definitely check that out, guys, and come right back here tomorrow. We'll be here same time, same place. We'll be breaking down more Major League Baseball here. And as always, this is your spot for more sports betting action.